the first thing that I needed to do was really stepping out of this circle. Stepping out of the circle in a way that I searched for help. Whatever the help means, the help can be a person in the church who you can talk to. It can be that there is a self-help circle in the city. It can be a doctor that you trust. And I know trust is really difficult when you're in this situation, but there will be this one person where the feeling is like, oh yeah, I can trust this person. Then go to this person, open up and talk that, or say that you have this kind of problem. And while you're talking, you will see that the strength is coming. But this is the first step, and I know it's a difficult step, but this needs to be done.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kornelia Zegiel. I'm the leader of Global Women Club in Frankfurt. For those who are new here, this channel is mostly about the leadership and personal growth. If you want to reach out to the next level, please stay tuned, because I highly believe those videos and interviews will inspire you to transform and grow. Hello everyone, welcome you in our second episode, and this time it's a series number 2 where I'm inviting Daniela Elster. Maybe you know her already from our first interview, but today is the second series. So Daniela, I'm very happy and delighted to have you here and talk about more about how concept basically, yeah?
Thank you so much for having me again. I'm really excited to talk about all these things because how I do things and then why I do things, these are the two topics that are really very important for me. And then I'm always trying to explain, and that's why I'm so happy to have the opportunity today here to explain the things to you and to your audience.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Daniela, I know once we met the first time, I know you have been working on your products basically, and on your developing your let's call it tools basically, because those are the tools which you are using helping people basically, because maybe before going deep into your methods which you are working with your clients and with people, let's introduce our audience who you are. So basically Daniela is the coach. She's helping women between 30 and 35 who experience abuse, mental or physical or even sexual abuse. She's helping them basically to reconnect with themselves and find the inner voice. So Daniela, let's tap into those topics. And basically in this interview, what I would like to pull more is basically those tools, you know. If you can share with us a little bit more, because I know you have been working a lot, and especially with this new tool, which you talk about in the LinkedIn as well, about these CART methods. Mm-hmm. So I'm very delighted to hear.
The main focus, as you said, is on women who experienced all kinds of abuse between about 30, 35 to 55. What I found out while I developed several tools also on my own, I found out that many symptoms that these women have also people have who are completely overworked. So who are working like me a few years ago, where I was working about 60, 70 hours. So I found out these are exactly the same symptoms. So I'm also offering things to these kind of people now. Yeah, but still the main focus is on the abused ones.
Can you quickly introduce, because like you mentioned, once they are in the stage of this kind of, when everything is collapsing, it's kind of ripple effect, you know, it's kind of accumulation. Can you also explain it through your experience? Because our audience needs to know, and I want to emphasize that you are the one who overcome by themselves. You know, you were there and you know exactly what does it mean. Be there, be really kind of pull down, you know, different circumstances. And I want you to talk about those ones and how to get to the lighter part of your life and basically now thriving and helping others to be overcoming those challenges. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so from early childhood on, I went to all kinds of abuse. I went through physical abuse and then very heavy mental abuse. So I always was the person who felt like I'm not worth of having success in work. I'm stupid. I'm ugly. I'm not worth of having good relationships. So I was always looking for the bad guys because I was used to these kind of people. And then there was that 1 year where everything fell down for me. So I lost my job. I found a new job. While I was starting that job, I found out I'm pregnant. 2 months later, I lost the first child. Then I lost the second child. A few days after I lost the second child, I had a back surgery because I wasn't able to move anymore. And I pushed myself because I was like, Daniela, you just got the job. So thinking like, no, I need to go to work because otherwise I will lose the job. So I pushed myself against all recommendations from the doctors. I went to work just to find out that the company had been sold so that I would have to leave the job again. And with all this coming together and also additionally losing my relationship because of all of this, I fell down into this deep, dark hole. And for me, there was on the one side, there was this thought inside of me, oh, it's not worth anymore. I should give up. It's not, well, I'm tired of fighting. I don't want anymore. But there was this one part inside of me who was like, no, try to find help. So I've searched for help. I found a very good therapist, and she asked me one question. And that question is also sticking to my head because this is, Daniela, what are you doing for yourself? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean about this? And she was like, when you talk about all the things and then what happened to you, your focus is always on all the other people around you, how they feel, how they act. And I was like, yeah, because I need to take care of this so that they are happy. And she was like, no, you're not responsible of them being happy. You're responsible of you being happy. And that started changing things. And then I for sure, I read several books, and there were certain books which really were important on my journey, and then which I use still also in coaching. And at a certain point, I recognized that because of all the things that happened to me during my life, I became a people pleaser. I really wanted to make sure that everybody is happy around me, just that I don't hear bad stuff, that I don't hear any bad comments about me, that people are not leaving me. So being the good girl, but the good girl didn't help. It's still all these things happened to me, although I was the good girl. So I recognized I needed to change. I needed to explore who I was because I didn't know. There was this feeling something is missing, but I didn't know what was missing. There was this turmoil in me. You're not living the life that you wanted. When you were 18, you wanted to go abroad. You're still in Germany. So why? What is going on? And while I dig deeper and then was in therapy, I started to understand and I started to find out who I was or who I am. And I started to understand what kind of life I wanted. I always wanted, but I had lost throughout the journey. And still it took some years to really gain the strength again, to be myself and to stand up for myself and not stand up for the people only around me. And then with 39, I was able to stand up and to say, okay, you know what? I'm leaving Germany. My job ended here. So I'm leaving Germany. I went to Ireland for 6 years, and now I'm in Spain since 3 years. I'm living now the life that I always wanted. I always wanted to go to different countries and live there. But it took that long to understand that because of all the things that happened to me, either while I was a child, a teenager, but also later when I was an adult in the job, that the person that I was at that time was wearing masks and wasn't. So I felt comfortable in the mask, but I also felt like I always said, I'm a clown. That's not me. That's not me. That feels so strange. Why am I doing that? Why am I saying such things? That's not me.
When you had this inner voice saying, yes, I need to do something, through that journey, what do you believe, what is basically holding us back? Because you had enough strength in you to say, now it's enough. Now I need to find the solution. But what about the people who they don't have enough power in themselves? So what would you like to recommend in that sense? You know, because you are the one, when people find you, they can work with you. But if people just listening to our interview, what would be your primary tip which you should give to that person who want to overcome all these challenges? And like you mentioned, because majority of these cases, like in your case, was like a good employee, good girlfriend, good daughter, wherever, serving everybody. So what would be your recommendation in that sense?
It's not an easy recommendation, because the first thing that I needed to do was really stepping out of this circle. Stepping out of the circle in a way that I searched for help. Whatever the help means, the help can be a person in the church who you can talk to. It can be that there is a self-help circle in the city. It can be a doctor that you trust. And I know trust is really difficult when you're in this situation, but there will be this one person where the feeling is like, oh yeah, I can trust this person. Then go to this person, open up and talk that, or say that you have this kind of problem. And while you're talking, you will see that the strength is coming. But this is the first step. And I know it's a difficult step, but this needs to be done.
Okay. Daniela, I know in your biography, you have been mentioning that you have been doing the search. You know, this is natural thing for people who want to find a solution, especially the explorer, you know what I mean? Reading the books, finding the coaches, meditating. Now it's very common, like, oh, well, if you will be doing the journaling, it's a good remedy for your old problems. Some people, they saying spirituality, go in that avenue. And I know in your case, you touch all of this, but still something was lacking. You were not where you are right now. So what was it? And what is it basically?
So for me, it's a mix of many, many tools that I use on a daily basis, but that I also change frequently. If you had asked me a few weeks ago, I would have told you, oh yeah, every day I'm chanting. So chanting is having an Indian mantra or a Christian mantra that you're saying or singing 20, 100, whatever times. Yeah. And I did this on a daily basis. And then I would have said, okay, I'm writing a gratitude list, then I write my decisions, then I write my future celebrations. And then I do this, and then I do that. That was a program for 1.5 hours. Not everybody is able to do that. So, and I always say, okay, every person needs to have their own mix. But what I recommend is really try out things. Nowadays, I'm listening to affirmations in the mornings, about 15 minutes, more or less. And I use this also as a meditation time. So I'm just focusing on the affirmations that are coming and then repeat them. And as I said, I do this for 15 minutes. That's completely enough for me. Then I write my gratitude list. If I do affirmations, I don't write decisions because this is more or less the same. If I don't do the affirmations, I do the decision list, but that's it. And that's about half an hour for me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're working, you need to find out what you can do in your time and when you can do it. But for me, it's always a mix. Spirituality for me is not about religion. So many people think it's the same. It's not the same.
True.
So spirituality for me is, yes, I believe in something, whatever you want to say. Some say universe, others say God, some say Allah, mm-hmm. some say Krishna, whatever. Yeah, but if you believe in something, that's a kind of spirituality. But for me, it also means I'm not a churchgoer. I'm not going to church, but I pray at certain times.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, the chanting part, the mantras, they are coming from Indian religion. So it's also a type of spirituality. I do some rituals which are bounded in either Christian religions or in other religions. And I have my own mix nowadays. Sounds strange because I grew up as a pure Protestant Christian, and I was responsible for educating the children in church. But for me, this is the perfect mixture now. It's mm-hmm. not that I'm saying religion is bad. As I said, I'm a believer. But this changed for me because also there I understood, okay, this part is doing me good, this part not. So find out what is doing good. It might be journaling. Mm-hmm. Journaling is really great, but have a look. Is it answering those 5 different questions each day, or maybe the same questions each day? Or is it the gratitude list that you want to do? Start with maybe 3 things that you're grateful for. I'm doing 20 each day. Mm-hmm. So find out, maybe you want to sing, then sing. For me, if I don't do a meditation in the morning, I might have a walk at the beach and have a walking meditation. Or I might dance then whenever I have time. So it could be something like this. It doesn't need to be journaling. It doesn't need to be meditation. Not many people want to sit in stillness for mm-hmm. an hour and then have the thought, oh my gosh, there's a thought again, and this is coming up again. Mm-hmm. And that's natural. We all have this. It's just about acknowledging the thought, like, oh yeah, nice, you're here. I saw it. Good that you made me aware. And now you can go for a coffee. I will sit here. And then the next thought is coming up. But many people can't. So find a way. Find out what's good for you.
Mm-hmm. Daniela, do you agree with me that those, can we summarize it in the mm-hmm. sense that those are just the curriculum, like a steps during the whole way? Because I know you we have several talks, several mm-hmm. meetings. And I know behind all these tools, this practice which you have, which are serving you, mm-hmm. there's also big why, this connection with inner self, with inner voice, isn't it? This exactly. is basically what is yes. the clue and the yes. essence of everything, isn't it?
Exactly. No, that's exactly it. And that's also why I'm changing things in at certain times. Because then I see, okay, for the moment, this one is serving me better, that tool or that process. There I can really connect with inside or with my inner self, however you want to call it. Some say the inner voice, some say it's like a feeling inside. So for me, it's always that there is the feeling of lightness in my body. And then as soon as I recognize this, I know, okay, this process is good for me at the moment. And this is really important, especially when you behave as this, I always say it as the good girl. Yeah, that's the people pleaser. And then you lost the connection to yourself. It's a nice work, but this reconnecting takes time, and then you need to really build it up as a daily workout, I would say. But it's a nice workout. It's nothing where you need to run a marathon. But sometimes it can feel like a marathon, and it can be the marathon if you're a runner. But whatever gives you that feeling, wow, I feel my body. I feel that this is doing good. And it's about me. And I'm not doing what my neighbor is doing just because she's telling me yoga is the perfect thing. No, I'm doing what is good for me.
Yes, absolutely. I fully agree with that statement. And we should emphasize more and more, like be aligned with yourself. Don't look what is in another fence, on another neighborhood. Just focus on yourself. Daniela, what about what is very typical as well, how should I phrase it? Like beating yourself, like we mentioned, okay, like everybody are doing that, then yes, I should be doing that. How would you like to approach that statement? How to deal with that? Because I know it's very common. I don't want to generalize, it's common for the women more than for the men, but obviously it's very common for sometimes also for a high achiever, you know what I mean? In that sense.
That's why I just wanted to say it's also men have this, especially when they are the high achievers and when there is this failure coming up or whatever. So there are several approaches on it. But first of all, you need to recognize that you're beating up yourself. For me, it took a while to really hear those thoughts that I had about myself. That whenever something happened at work, I was really discussing with myself, but in a bad way. So it's really like an argument happening in my head, and then telling me like, oh, Daniela, you're a failure. You see, didn't work out once again. You messed up again, yeah? You should know that you're not capable of such things. And when I was able to recognize this, I was also able to see, is it real or not? Because of doing one failure doesn't mean that I messed up completely. I'm human, failures are normal. And then I heard at a certain point, her name is Sarah Blakely. She's the founder of Spanx. The
Spanx, yes.
The leggings. And then when I was in the training of Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, she was also there as a speaker. And she told us a story about her childhood. And she said that her father, whenever they came home from school and had dinner, her father asked her and her brother about the failures that they experienced during the day. And then for me, when she already started that story, I was like, how can you talk about such things? Yeah. And she was like, yeah. And my father was not happy when we couldn't give him any failures of the day. He was celebrating every failure. And for me, even more question marks. And then she was like, yeah, but for him, failures meant that there is a possibility to grow. They are an opportunity for us to find new solutions, to find different ways, and to have a new thinking. And that started me, or gave me the opportunity to reflect on this, because I grew up in society, I would say, in a family system where failure was punished. Failure was bad. You needed to have certain grades in school. You needed to have a certain kind of job because you studied. If you didn't have it, it was a failure. But when I shifted it, and then I saw like, okay, yeah, I'm human. I did something wrong, but actually, what happened? What happened because I did it wrong? Actually, not really anything. And then I was like, whoa, this is helping me so much to really see it as an invitation to grow, to learn from this error that I did. And then the beating up in my head stopped.
Yeah. It's so true, because it's so true what we are sharing. And thank you very much for bringing that story from Sarah. And is so powerful, because majority of our kind of, let's call it sufferings in our life, they are coming from completely wrong mindset thing. If we want to, put it on small pieces. So basically we should emphasize in our discussion as well, we should change the mindset of the people and really emphasizing more, like you say, be familiar with the failure. Same thing with the ego. People are saying ego is bad. Well, it's not a good thing. We need to differentiate two different things, which we are talking about. Yeah.
Exactly.
But of course, I fully agree with you. Failure is another way of doing the things, and way better, way smarter, instead of, and then majority of our dramas, life dramas, might be less painful in that sense, isn't it?
They might still be painful at the beginning, but when you start working on these things, you recognize also the beating up faster. You recognize the I would say negative self-talk faster. And then you can tell yourself like, okay, yes, I know you want to save me. I know that you had a purpose, but actually at the moment, I don't need you, because everything is fine. I will get through this. This is also a thing that I heard recently to explain it to that thought, like, go have a coffee, sit down, have a coffee, leave me alone for a while. And I worked through a lot of things last year. Whenever I had a talk with my mom, she was like, you're taking it quite easy. And I was like, I'm not taking it easy. Yeah. I will still need some time to get over these things. But it doesn't disturb my life anymore. I can still work. I can still focus on the things that I want to focus on. I don't need to focus on the bad thing that happened. I don't need to focus on that bad voice in my head, because I know, when I was younger, it helped me and it saved me, but I'm an adult now. It doesn't save me anymore. It's not doing good. So for me, that voice can have a break. Mm-hmm. And that's it. It sounds easy. It took a long time to get there where I am now. And there were times where I punished myself because the voice was back. But nowadays it's really like, okay, yes, you're there. Fine, good. I heard you. Bye.
I just want to mention to you, because when you mentioned to comparing to your mom, mm-hmm. I think this is also a great barometer for us, the ones who are searching, the ones who are growing and developing. If your society, which you are coming from, starts seeing you are doing or reacting differently, mm-hmm. this is the good signs you are above of that. You just overcome all these challenges. And I'm pretty sure there is much more peace in all these movements. I don't know, this decision, isn't it? This is basically the whole inner work, which is happening behind the scenes, like you just mentioned, through the journaling, through the mantra, through the singing, whatever tool you will find, it will get you there. But that there needs to be also persistent, isn't it? Because this is also clue in this whole journey. Yes. Yeah, can you elaborate more as well?
Persistence is needed, because especially when you're coming from this abusive background, and then you lost yourself, you lost your self-worth and the self-love. When I started, as I said, I felt like nothing. I wasn't worth anything. I didn't love myself. I didn't feel ugly, but there was this part like always telling me, oh, you're not worth of this boyfriend. You're not worth of this. And this is also a type of self-love, yeah? Putting everybody higher than you are. And only by persistence, I was able to overcome all these things. And I wasn't persistent at the beginning. And then for sure, I had a backlash again. I went into the same old patterns. And then it needed a time again to recognize that I'm in the old pattern again. And then I started again, and I scratched, and I did, and I came further than previously. And then there was maybe a break again. And then this is also totally normal because our life circumstances change. But whenever you recognize, oh, I'm back into my old patterns, don't beat yourself up. Just start again with the things that you did before you went into the old pattern again. And find out, is it that I need other tools now? Is it that I need to do maybe more journaling, or that you need to do more sports, whatever is feeling good in that situation to get out of this old pattern? And then you can make it. Yes, it will take a bit longer then, but that's completely normal. Everybody is human and everybody is doing their own journey.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. Daniela, can we talk a little bit more what you do with your clients? I know we are having a lot of meetings, and funny enough, not funny. I mean, the sense of regardless from which culture are we coming mm-hmm. from, regardless of which part of the globe are we coming, because I know you are working with multinational people. Do they have the same kind of dilemma? This kind of, can you talk a little bit more, what you observe, especially now? Because now we just had COVID, or going, after pandemic time, where everybody were saying, like, go inside you, there was like a lot of losing the jobs, maybe relationship, or lack of social connections. So what did you observe, and where are you now? And can we talk about those tools? Because I'm super curious about these tools, because I know you launched something.
Yes,
and I want to try it. And I want you to talk about that powerful tool, so the audience could also find out more. And what is basically them?
So first of all, let's start with the international part, so that the audience understands a bit more about this. So I'm working with international people, not only in coaching. I give a lot of self-development trainings. Recently, I gave a self-love training to Indian NGO, but it's an international NGO. So I had people in there from India, Nepal, South Africa, Kenya. The week before, a few days before, I gave a training about compliments, receiving and giving compliments, because this is also an issue. With people worldwide. Yeah, it's not only the Western cultures. I had people from Morocco in there, US in there, France in there, Germany in there, and the one that was furthest away is from Malaysia. So it's a global issue. And then to see this, that people from completely different backgrounds, and even when you see the self-love training, Nepal and then South Africa, or Nepal and Kenya is also completely different, yeah? Mm-hmm. But they all have the same issues. They all, and then most of us grow up in similar ways. When we are young, when we are children, in many societies, it's not really good when a child says no to a parent, yeah? And when I talked about these things, and then you see that people start smiling because they see themselves in the same situation, and then they are from a completely different country, and then there's maybe even an age gap. I was the oldest one in the last training. The other ones were about the 20s. They could have been my children, and they still have the same issues. And that's so fantastic. So for sure, it's somehow sad, but also fantastic that we are connected, that we are actually the same. That we have the same self-doubts. And it doesn't matter if you're a woman or a man, they also have the same self-doubts. So a man in that one training asked me about issues in the relationship. And I was like, whoa, it's a training about self-love. And a man is asking me that question. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the training about the compliments, the Moroccan lady, she studied in the US previously, and then she shared her experiences, how the people in the US are dealing with certain things, and then with sharing about their achievements, and that this is a real issue for her, that she has a problem to share her achievements. And I was like, good, you're not alone. It's the same for me. And then another woman joined in and she was like, yes, and it's the same for me. And in our society, when you're like, oh yeah, and this and there I'm good, and then I have this and I have that certificate, it's seen like bragging. And she was like, yes, exactly, that's the same here in Morocco. And it was so strange for me to see in America that they are all standing up and then sharing these things. It's like, I totally understand you. And to have this as a community, to see we are the same, is for me, it's a blessing. And it helps also the people in the training to connect so easily, although they are from completely different cultures. And that's why I do my work and I love my work. And I love to connect these people and then show them, good, you're the same. You're the same as me. Or you, guy, yeah, we have a gender difference, but the feelings that we have, if a person is talking negatively about us, if we get a feedback that we don't like, it's the same. And then that's really helpful. And tomorrow I have a call with a lady from South Africa. So it's a get to know call, which is always free. And then people can talk to me then for 50 minutes and we will find out what's going on. And then we might do already something with one of my tools, which I have in my hands now. Mm-hmm. So I use many, many different tools because I'm a systemic coach. So I have all the systemic processes, but I'm also a psychological coach. So I use also normal psychological processes. A bit of NLP is also in there. But what I see, especially at the beginning, when my clients are not aware really where they are in life, what they want from life, and then we know, okay, there are also a lot of limiting beliefs in there, then I love to use the cards. And I invented also processes for overcoming limiting beliefs where the cards can be used. And the cards, I will show a few now. They are coming from a phototherapy background. They were invented by two Israeli coaches about 10 years ago. And they are in game form because they said, like, yes, the normal processes that we usually use in coaching are very head-like, so it's always in the logical mind. But many times, especially when it's about those personal things, if you're completely in your mind in the logical part, you're not going deep enough to really find out what the real issue is behind. And they were like, okay, but we want to have it in a fun way. We don't want to have it really heavy. People should enjoy the process. And they were like, okay, let's sit together and then find out what we can do. And they came up with what the coaching game. The coaching game has many cards in there. Mm-hmm. And these are some cards, for example. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, I see. And this one, for example. Uh-huh. Okay. So you see, completely different topics. There might also be some where no person is on, and then it's just some technical stuff. But the cards that the clients are choosing either face up so that they see it, but some are also like, okay, I don't want to see them, so we're pulling them face down. And then I'm raising questions. So just first to observe what's on the card. So what do you see in the photo? What kind of light? What kind of shade? Are there colors? What is significant for you? Would you put yourself into the photo? And where, if you want to? Do you like the photo or not? Are there any memories coming up? Any feelings, any thoughts while looking at this photo? And then the last question about the photo overall is, okay, how do you connect this photo with the issue that we are talking about? So then the person can start also to write some things down. And you saw maybe on the card, there's also a word, yeah, and this it's choice. Then we do the same process about the word. So can you make up some other words with the same letters? Do you like the word? Would you like to give a different word to the photo? And then going into the process. And then the last question again is, okay, all the things that you have found out now about the photo and the word, how do you connect them to the issue that you have? Sounds really easy. It's an easy process, but it's going so deep that many people are shifting within 50 minutes, or as I said, the process about changing the limiting beliefs is a bit longer. It's about 1.5 to 2 hours, depending on what kind of belief you're working. But after that, many people shifted already. Mm-hmm. And then that's amazing because you do it in a fun way, which really looks easy, but you're going much deeper because you suddenly see things from different points of views.
Mm-hmm. I see. It's very powerful tool. Yes. Absolutely very powerful tool. Like you said, seem to be easy, but it's really touching the heavy piece, which is subconscious mind, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Because this is all about, yeah.
Yeah, and we have also a different tool depending on problems. Yeah, so depending on setting, you use different tools, and that's one that I really love when it's about who am I? This is a tool which has photo cards, word cards, and a mirror.
Oh, okay. Wow.
There are photos, just portraits of people worldwide in there, men and women, children. Mm-hmm. And then it's really also, and I use them also in my trainings, and especially in the self-love training, I'm asking them to choose a photo for themselves, and then we go through the process. Mm-hmm. And at the end, I don't want to give secrets away, but at the end, at the end, I just ask them to choose a card like this, so face down, and then I open them, it's all children in Superman and Superwoman costumes. And I'm like, you're the hero, you're the Superwoman, you're the Superman.
Wow, it's very, 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 very powerful, Daniela. So thank you for pulling a little bit curtains for that tool. Daniela, we are going towards end our interview, and I would like to ask you like a final tip, if we can make it in that way, like framing everything together. So whenever, if it's coming to the end, how would you like to summarize in one single word whenever it's coming to the moment when people are feeling down and kind of exhausted and they don't see kind of light in the tunnel, regardless what this might be, broken relationship, whatever, abuse, stuff like this. So what will your number one message, or maybe like two messages which you want to emphasize for our audience?
Yeah. Especially in those situations, we tend to talk us out of the feelings that we have of being exhausted, because we think we need to be the energetic person. We need to show up in a certain way. We are not supposed to have feelings like this. What I learned, and I learned it the hard way, is if you're exhausted, sleep. If you can't sleep, do some sports so that you're tired. It's important, especially in the stressful life that we have, that we get enough sleep, whatever this means for the person. It doesn't mean that I'm telling you that you should sleep for 2 weeks. That's not what I'm saying, but it's a part of self-care. Nowadays, we are like, we are not allowed to be exhausted. We are not allowed to feel sad. We are not allowed to feel angry, that doesn't mean that we should have a bad discussion with a person, but the feeling we are allowed to have. We are allowed to be angry. We are allowed to be sad. If we're sad, yeah, then maybe you want to go in nature if you're not alone at home, or maybe you want to go in the bathroom and cry for a while. This will help you. This will clean the system. If we are always stopping ourselves from the feelings that we have, this is it's blocking us even more on a long term, because then in the moment where we feel this feeling, we are connected with our body, we are connected with ourselves. If we don't allow the body to cry, to be exhausted, or to feel angry, then on a long term, the body will not react on these feelings anymore. So you're not able to know what's going on with yourself. So allow yourself to have the feelings, go through them.
Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much, Daniela. I would mention one single word saying, give yourself permission to feel. Exactly. And yes. Experience. That will be the final message for our call.
Perfect summary.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniela, very much. It's always a pleasure to have you here and discuss with you in depth really what's going on and how to deal with all circumstances which life might bring us, and especially from the expert perspective, the one who knows the tools ups and downs, who have been there, which is very important. So Daniela, thank you very much. And of course, at the bottom of that video, we are going to put the links where people could find you whenever they have a need and a desire to experience your expertise. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria. Thank you very much for having me.
If you enjoyed the contents of this video, click the subscribe button so you can receive more content like this every week. If you want to keep developing yourself, check my recommended videos